Melvin is dedicated to honoring Jesse's life through her tireless advocacy work. Her focus is Jesse's Law, a mandate designed to keep children far away from known domestic abusers. This legislation aims to break the cycle and prevent these horrific events from repeating indefinitely. She linked her son's tragedy to the wider debate regarding oversight and proactive safety measures. One of Kiara's close friends, Zoe Jones, penned a beautiful eulogy that perfectly illustrated her spirit. Kiara, everyone who knew you adored you. I still remember you scolding me for acting foolish when we first met. From that moment on, you were my protector. I trusted you with every single secret I ever had. The ache in my soul is unbearable right now. I cannot make sense of this. I will always love you, sis. This incident raises a critical question that resonates far outside the borders of North Carolina. How is a violent offender permitted with active felonies and public threats allowed to leave jail after 2 weeks without anyone warning the victims who are most at risk? Her relatives said it best. Red flags are completely useless unless someone actually takes decisive action to stop them. Kiara and Zoe were cherished. The community they left behind still feels the heavy burden of their absence daily. Time moves forward, but danger remains. Stay vigilant, trust your gut, and never overlook the signals of trouble. Catch me on the next episode of Crime on Pulse. I appreciate you tuning in today. He forced his way inside and held a pistol to my skull while I sat there crying, "Please, stop. Please don't pull that trigger again." She stared directly into the eyes of a man she once called a dear friend. She realized in that moment that the person looking back at her was a complete stranger. I looked into his eyes and he was gone. He deserves whatever is coming to him. The trauma she survived and the horrors she witnessed before escaping are burdens that no human being should ever have to bear. August 11th, 2024. That evening on Weaver Circle seemed totally normal, with friends hanging out and children playing nearby. But by 5 in the morning, gunfire had erupted. 2 victims were fighting for life, while a mother and daughter were gone. Police investigators believe the entire violent episode was triggered by a domestic dispute that spiraled out of control. Currently, the Wilson County Sheriff's Office reports that the 6-year-old girl is in the middle of a surgical procedure. It is still uncertain if she will survive. 2 other victims were rushed to ECU Health for emergency operations. Let me show you where the violence started. This was the scene hours later at the Wilson County home where the first shots rang out. Around 5 a.m., deputies discovered a man and a woman who had both been shot at this location. Authorities have identified the primary suspect as 32-year-old Jaquan Jones, then fled the scene with a woman he was dating and her 6-year-old daughter, eventually leaving the child at a Nash County residence with a gunshot wound. Listen to this emergency radio traffic from the Nash County medical teams. All units are being directed to Lee Road. The Sheriff's Department is reporting a 6-year-old girl struggling for breath and needs the airwaves cleared for emergency traffic. Before we continue, please hit the like button, share your thoughts below, and subscribe to Crime on Pulse for more cases. Kiara Massenberg was a 26-year-old woman born on June 8th, 1997 in North Carolina. She graduated high school in 2015. And those who knew her always described her as a sweet and compassionate soul. She was a mother to a daughter named Zoe Jones, who was born on July 15th, 2018. Little Zoe loved to sing and dance, and friends described her as a bright, funny, and energetic child who was deeply loved. You better quit it right now, or I'll hurt you. Kiara's partner was 32-year-old Decoy Jones, often called Shishi. While they looked like a normal family from the outside, the history behind closed doors told a much darker story. Decoy had a long criminal record before meeting Kiara, including a 2019 conviction for kidnapping and assaulting a woman. That previous victim was not Kiara, but an entirely different woman from his past. During that same time, he posted on Facebook about the death of his mother and how that loss broke him. He spoke openly about walking away from his music because he felt like no one truly understood his pain. He admitted his mental state was failing and that people were worried about him, confessing he fought a daily war with himself. By November 2023, the tension with Kiara had reached a point where it simply could no longer be ignored. On November 11th, he was busted in Rocky Mount for making threats, acting unruly, and fighting with a police officer. According to the arrest reports, he explicitly told Kiara, "You think I'm joking? I am going to hurt you." He was jailed and then released, yet the cycle of fear, breakups, and reunions just kept spinning. Fast forward to the summer of 2024. In early July, Kiara made a social media post suggesting she had moved on. Decoin saw the post and reacted by sharing a photo of a car that was riddled with bullet holes. The text on the image read, "I found someone new. Well, I found both of you." Decoin added a comment saying he would visit the intensive care unit to finish her off. This was a public threat. Only one day before that, he had posted a message with a completely different vibe, stating, "Through the highs and lows, I finally have the one I wanted. I have the girl I would do anything for. We constantly push each other to be better. We don't have it all, but I wouldn't want to build this with anyone else." One post was a murder threat, and the other was about love. Two polar opposite messages posted just 24 hours apart. That wild swing between obsession and affection, between control and connection, revealed the true danger of the situation. On July 24th, 2024, Decoin brutally beat Kiara, hitting her so hard he broke her nose and teeth. He was arrested 3 days later and booked into the Edgecombe County Jail on a felony assault charge. For a brief window, they were physically separated. He was behind bars while she finally had some breathing room. Everything changed on August 10th, 2024, the very moment Decoin walked out of jail. Later that evening, several folks met up at 27-year-old Micaiah Page's place over on Weaver Circle in Sharpsburg, North Carolina. Started as a laid-back night, just friends hanging out with children in the house. Kiara brought along 6-year-old Zoe, and 30-year-old Devontae Ricks joined the group as well. Person knew both Kiara and Decoin well. When Decoin arrived, Micaiah's 5-year-old girl, Bella, was playing inside the home. Once the night bled into the early hours of August 11th, right around 5 in the morning, a heated argument erupted regarding Zoe. Decoin insisted on taking the girl, but Kiara refused to let her leave. Zoe also spoke up, making her own feelings perfectly obvious. Micaiah recalled the terrifying noise of that moment. The child was screaming at the very top of her lungs, "I do not want to go. I do not want to go." Hearing the commotion, Micaiah and Devontae both rushed over to help. They attempted to de-escalate the situation before it worsened. Suddenly, Decoin pulled a weapon and fired, striking Devontae first. Decoin then shifted his focus toward Micaiah, striking her right there in the driveway. I recall him approaching while I scrambled to escape, but the bullets still found me. Paige was initially wounded in the driveway alongside her friend, Devontae Hicks. She mentions fleeing for her life toward the house, desperate to reach her bedroom and find a safe hiding spot. He burst inside and pressed the barrel against my forehead as I desperately begged for mercy, saying, "Please, I am begging you, do not pull that trigger again. Please." Then I screamed out to my girl, "Bella, get out of here. Run. Just leave the house and keep running." Fortunately, Bella reached a neighbor's home safely. Micaiah suffered multiple wounds across her body. Currently, Micaiah is back home healing with her little girl staying close by her side, yet she lost her closest friend and that friend's child forever. Learning about Zoe and Kiara absolutely shattered my heart into pieces. Little Zoe was caught in the crossfire during the struggle. Despite her injuries, Micaiah fled toward her room, seeking refuge, but Decoin chased her. Amidst the terror, Micaiah found the strength to tell her daughter to flee. Bella escaped to a nearby house and survived the ordeal. Micaiah noted that gazing into Decoin's eyes during the attack felt like looking at a complete stranger she did not recognize. Paige characterized the look as nothing short of pure malice. I stared into his eyes. It was like he was someone else entirely. Following the violence, decoying forced a driver out of their car so he could hijack the vehicle himself. He sped away from Weaver Circle with the wounded Zoe, eventually leaving her at a local residence before speeding off again. Kiara was trapped in the car with him. He traveled nearly 20 miles until they reached a spot in Nash County. It was there that Kiara's life ended tragically. Authorities eventually discovered decoying unconscious at that very same location. A lengthy police probe kicked off in Wilson County where multiple victims were harmed by gunfire, including the 6-year-old child. The search concluded on Jaime Road in Nash County, where detectives found a deceased woman in a vehicle and a man gone in the residence. Deputies from the Nash County Sheriff's Office swarmed the Jamie Road house. Heartbroken relatives clung to one another as the remains were taken away. This whole tragedy feels like a plot straight out of some dark Lifetime movie. Sadly, there is no script here. Sean Alustin resides in the house that is currently taped off as a primary crime scene. He mentioned being fast asleep until he heard his buddy, Aquan Jones, enter the home unexpectedly. Explain the sounds you heard, just bangs, pop, pop, then cops yelling to hit the floor. It happened so fast he was totally lost. He noted that he had been friends with Jones and the deceased woman for a long time and is still reeling from the news. You look completely stunned by all this. I suppose I am, at least for the time being. I had a phone call with Sheriff Keith Stone on site regarding the timeline. An alert was issued for the suspect, who was spotted in Nash County near Gold Rock. As the police arrived, a single gunshot rang out. Once they breached the home, they discovered a person already deceased inside the building. Jones had reportedly taken his own life. Prior to that final act, he had turned the weapon on his own girlfriend. Her body was discovered in the vehicle Jones used to flee Weaver Circle. Meanwhile, Zoe was rushed to the emergency room for an operation. The little girl didn't survive past the following day. When police reviewed his history, including a conviction from 2019, his November 2023 arrest, internet threats, and a felony assault charge in July 2024, plus his release only 2 weeks afterward. It painted a grim picture of a legal system that failed to step in when it mattered most. The relatives stated very clearly that they were never informed he had been let out of custody. They were kept in the dark, and that massive failure in communication resulted in this ultimate tragedy. It was a nightmare, honestly. She was doing everything in her power to just distance herself from that situation. Loved ones mourned Kiara and Zoe, urging others to spot the red flags of domestic violence. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. You never know what someone is truly capable of doing. A GoFundMe was created to cover funeral costs. We have also discovered that the GoFundMe campaign has gathered over $19,000 for Kiara and Zoe to cover funeral costs and related needs. The family mentions that this wave of support is helping them navigate through what has been a truly devastating period. On August 22nd, a commemorative balloon release took place at Mawindy's in the downtown area of Rocky Mount. This ceremony carries so much weight because we knew she was a major presence and incredibly well loved by everyone, but this turnout really proves how beautiful her soul was and that everyone naturally gravitates toward her. Even now, her family is struggling to accept she is never coming back. It is just a heavy burden, honestly. Losing her feels exactly like I have lost a child of my own. Reality has not quite set in since we were together every single day, and I still find myself hearing the echo of her voice. Despite how painful it is to move on, they intended for this event to be a celebration of her life rather than a mourning. My hope is that she is remembered for her bright smile and that amazing spirit she had. There was truly never a dull moment with her. She stayed positive no matter what. A benefit followed at the Rocky Mount Barracks where the community showed up in massive numbers to ensure the family felt seen. We simply made the choice to come out today to stand by the family and offer assistance with whatever they might require. We want them to know the community has their back. We are taking it one day at a time, and every prayer sent our way is helping. Pamela Page, the mother of Micaiah, was dealing with a grief that felt like it had many different layers to it. She had already suffered the loss of her own mother in a very similar way, and now her daughter had nearly met that exact same fate. I managed to find a quick moment to hop on video to speak from the heart about this horrific event that has actually hit my own home. As most of you know, I am a dedicated advocate for survivors of domestic abuse. And I lead the Pamela D. Page Foundation, where our goal is to provide strength to those who have lived through the trauma and are currently moving past the pain of being in an abusive relationship. We provide a space for them to tell their stories, and we also focus on teaching the public what domestic abuse actually looks like. Plus, as you may already be aware, we are hosting an awareness walk this coming September. There is also a formal gala event that we have planned for this October. But domestic violence is not just a concern for September or October. This is a battle that happens every single day of the year. I want to share the terror I felt when my daughter called to tell me she had been shot. I am going to try my best not to break down. I am opening up about this so we can unite as a neighborhood, because there are actually 4 separate families affected by this tragedy. This goes beyond my own relatives. It includes the Massenberg family, the Jones family, and the Ricks family as well. Every person involved is in deep pain. I just want you to hear my sincerity, especially those who walk in faith and truly know me. If you are familiar with my character and you understand the kindness in my heart, then I truly hope that you can find a way to receive the message I am about to give. I received a FaceTime call at 5:02 in the morning on August 11th showing my daughter covered in blood, begging for help. She was struggling to breathe and told me her friend had shot her. I was just barely waking up to this nightmare. My mind was racing, wondering why she was calling me instead of reaching out to the police or an ambulance first. Because I could not physically reach her right then, I was relieved when she said she had already called for help. I was terrified for my 5-year-old granddaughter, Bella, because my daughter had no idea where the little girl was at that moment. In that instant, it felt like my heart had dropped straight through my chest a dozen times over. I was in a state of mild shock while trying to keep my composure, but thank God a friend lived just a short distance from me. They came to pick me up so I could get to my daughter. However, when I arrived, she was already inside the ambulance. Crime scene tape was everywhere. The officers would not let me pass the perimeter, but fortunately her best friend was there with Bella. So my focus was on getting Bella, and then we prepared to leave the scene. Bella was trying to explain the situation to me because I only knew that my child was shot, unable to breathe, and terrified. I was shaking with fear. She'd called my sister, and I just thank God because I do not know what it feels like to face death. And that is honestly a dark place that I am not even trying to let my mind go to right now. But I suppose if you only had a few minutes left to reach out to the people who truly love you, then doing exactly that would be the best way to ensure they know how much you truly care for them. I cannot be sure if those were her exact thoughts, but she reached for her mother because she knows my love is unconditional. She knows her mother is always there to guide her, keep her on track, and love her through everything. Even when they ignore our advice, they reach out the moment things get scary. I'm just so grateful to the Lord that she reached out to me. Hearing her struggle for air while I was stuck far away was a nightmare I can't even describe. Since the Almighty is everywhere at once, I just started shouting his name, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. He was the only one who could reach her in time. All glory to him for sparing her life. There is a difficult path to recovery ahead, and my heart is just breaking for Kiara and Zoe. Little Zoe and my granddaughter were close. My grandbaby actually saw the whole thing, so she is definitely going to need professional support. My daughter's going to need a lot of looking after too. We are all praying, Ritz makes it. We know nothing is impossible for the Lord. I'm putting my faith in God to keep a protective hand over him as he fights for every breath. Honestly, I am also sending so much love and sympathy to Shai's family during this nightmare. There is no justifying what he did. It was an absolute atrocity with zero excuses. Yet, we have to remember that he was someone's loved one too. His people are likely reeling, hurting for the victims while mourning their own. We need to stand together right now. I am aware of the donation page set up to help the little one intended for Zoe and Kiara, but please know there is a memorial fund for Shai as well. I'm asking everyone to stop with the accusations. Let us not play the blame game. We see the aftermath, but there are layers to this story that remain hidden from us. I certainly do not have the full picture. I only have bits of information and rumors, but none of those details change the tragedy. When it is all said and done, 3 people are gone and 2 more barely survived the ordeal. Because we are a community, we have to support one another because this is incredibly heavy. I am at my station working, but believe me, I am struggling. This is just my coping mechanism. I have to stay active to manage my internal turmoil. Working is a choice for me right now. Everyone processes grief in their own way, and I respect that. Please, do not go posting hateful things about Shai or Kiara. From what I gather, there was a deep connection between them at one point. There was definitely a period where they shared what felt like genuine love. I cannot say when the relationship turned toxic or violent, but they did care for each other once. It is just devastating. My daughter is still trying to wrap her head around why he would target her. She begged him to stop, and by some miracle, he decided to just walk away. My heart is heavy for both sides because they have suffered a loss, while I am just thankful I did not lose my baby. But because she is still in gain, we have a responsibility to act. We have to stop the endless chatter about what should have happened. This story might be trending online, but the public does not feel the raw pain we are carrying inside. You cannot trust everything you read in the headlines. Hearing the truth firsthand has been truly heartbreaking. I just realized today that Shai's sister is actually a client of mine. It is incredible how the Lord connects these dots. I was supposed to see her for an appointment yesterday, but she had to cancel to deal with the situation regarding Zoe, so she ended up coming in today instead. I could immediately sense her pain. You know, I am sensitive to energy, and hers just felt incredibly heavy and sad. She is usually so vibrant and cheerful, so I could tell right away that she was struggling. She started crying as we talked through the tragedy. I asked if she was close to the people involved. When she said she knew everyone, I was absolutely stunned. We ended up discussing mental health and the internal battles people face when there is a lack of accessible support systems or help available for those in crisis. Even when you try to guide someone toward help, if they will not take the first step, what can you really do? You simply cannot force a person's hand. I cannot even get my own daughter to visit a doctor. I can't force her into counseling. It's out of my hands. I can suggest it, though. I can provide love. I can offer her all the guidance in the world. But until an individual truly decides they're ready to move forward and take the necessary steps to heal their own psyche, your hands are basically tied. In the end, all you can really do is show them love. You can keep them in your prayers. Ultimately, the choice belongs to them alone. They have to be the ones to say, I want to heal. I need to do better for myself. So often, we try to cope by turning to substances, drinking, or just numbing out at parties. Honestly, that's probably the most damaging path we could take. Yet, those are the common survival tactics people reach for when they're struggling. Let me be clear about who it was. It was her own brother. Her brother is the one who opened fire on my daughter. And do you know how I responded? I held her close. I embraced her because she's in pain. She's confused. She's absolutely terrified. She feels completely isolated because she thinks everyone is judging her for a choice her brother made. That was his decision, not hers. She actually wanted him to find help. She wanted him to recover. But he chose a different path, didn't he? We all probably wish Kiara would have walked away from that mess. She realized it was toxic, yet she made the choice to stay. But you know what? We're going to keep loving them through the storm regardless. We'll keep praying for them because there wasn't anything we could do to change it. It's their life. At the end of the day, it's their call. It breaks my heart that things ended this way. It's devastating. But we aren't here to point fingers. We aren't playing the blame game. Instead, we're going to stand together. So many of you have been asking what you can do to support me. You've been asking how to help. Well, I'm going to tell you exactly how right now. There is a fundraiser page set up for my daughter, for Kiara and Zoe. Please contribute and help the family out. There's a second fundraiser for D-Coin, though I've always called him Shasha. People call him Shaw as well. I want you to help that family lay him to rest. That shouldn't be another burden for them because they lost a loved one too. Now, for those of us with faith, we know we have to meet people exactly where they are. We aren't here to judge. That's not our place. Personally, I don't hold any resentment toward him at all. Not a bit. My heart truly aches for him because let me tell you what was happening online. I'm not sure who exactly, but I saw a post he shared maybe a few weeks back. It showed her saying she'd moved on and him responding, "Oh, I found them too." There was an image of a car riddled with bullets. And meanwhile, people are just laughing, dropping comments, and sharing that post like it's a joke. Who actually reached out to him? Who bothered to ask why he was posting such disturbing things? Why did we encourage that behavior? Who tried to pull him aside and correct him? There's no point in sitting here bad-mouthing him if you weren't someone who tried to connect and see what was fueling his downward spiral. We can't act like that. Did anyone stop to remind Kiara of her own value? Did someone tell her she could survive without him? Did anyone remind them of their worth and whose children they really are? This battle isn't over, everyone. It's actually just starting. Because you know what? It has hit home now. It's right here at our doorstep. So, what's the plan? I don't want to hear any more empty talk. I need you to actually show up. I've put out a list of events we're doing because I'm determined. I want to educate everyone on domestic abuse because it's about so much more than just physical violence. It's not just the bruises you can see. What about the psychological toll? What about our collective mental health? What about the ones suffering behind closed doors? What are we going to do about it? Are you just going to talk, or are you going to be part of the fix? Are you going to get involved and impact our neighborhood because people are dying from internal pain? They are fighting wars inside their own heads. Stop mocking those posts people put up just because you find them entertaining and want to share them. Instead, why don't you share the news about getting out into the community and doing the actual work? So let's unite. If you want to do something for me, show up for the march. Be there for the walk. Let's keep the memories of Kiara and Zoe alive and use that as fuel to keep this fight going. Do that for me. That's the real way to help. When you see something wrong, you have to speak up instead of staying quiet. That's your mission. Please do it, because I almost lost my own child. I've survived abuse myself. I lost my mother to domestic violence. So this is personal. This hits incredibly hard. My heart is full of gratitude, but it's also heavy with grief. It is time for everyone to take action. The season for empty words has officially ended. Show your face. Prove that you actually give a damn about them. Let us unify and get to work. Stop the infighting. Current circumstances do not allow for such petty divisions anymore. It really does not. Please contribute to both funds. We must ensure a dignified farewell before starting our long journey toward recovery. This will take time. This situation is heartbreaking. My grandchild is going to require professional therapy. My daughter will need counseling as well. Even Shai's sister is going to need help. He dropped the little girl off with her. She was completely blindsided by the situation. Please spread this message by sharing this video. Please join our community on September 28th at Martin Luther King Park. We will march together to honor the memories of Kiara and Zoe, along with everyone else we have lost to the tragedy of domestic violence. Attend the gala or fund the organizations working tirelessly on the front lines of this crisis. Support those who are actually doing the heavy lifting. Your support makes a difference. I am deeply grateful to everyone who has reached out lately. I truly appreciate it. The flood of calls and texts has been immense. Please understand that even without a reply, your messages are seen and heard. I value your kindness. This outpouring of affection is exactly what I need to keep going right now. I truly do. It is truly essential for me. I am thankful for every single person standing by us. Let us mobilize immediately. A massive turnout will prove how tightly our community can bond during tragedy for one another. We are avoiding the blame game today. Casting stones is not our priority at this moment. 4 different households are suffering. Please keep praying, as the hardest part of this journey has just started. Recovery takes time, but we are trusting in a miracle for Ritz. He will survive this ordeal. My faith is in a full recovery. I urge everyone to sign up and join the memorial walk. Please contribute to both GoFundMe campaigns. Relieving their financial burden will help them focus on mourning without being stressed. Refrain from any negativity. If you cannot offer something positive, please remain silent during this time. Hearts are breaking everywhere. We must unite rather than wasting energy on unnecessary conflict. This is no time to fight. This moment calls for nothing but radical compassion and kindness toward one another. Christy Melvin stepped up to link this tragedy to Jesse's Law, aiming for legislative passage by 2025. Melvin told the story of her son, Jesse Ray Adams, beginning with her final departure from an abusive partner in 2012. Despite the split, they shared custody of Jesse until her estranged spouse committed an act of unimaginable horror. He murdered their 3-year-old son before taking his own life. I have witnessed the absolute darkest outcome imaginable. My goal is to spare others from this agony. Although Kiara was not biologically mine, she felt like my own. I view them all as my own. This cycle must end. Authorities emphasize that leaving remains the only safe option. Walking away sounds incredibly simple when you describe it in such basic terms. However, numerous hidden obstacles within these toxic dynamics prevent victims from simply fleeing their homes. On July 24th, he beat her so severely he broke her nose and her teeth. He was arrested and released after just 2 weeks. No warning was sent to Kiara, not a single call. On August 10th, the day he walked out of jail, he came looking for her. That night, at a friend's home, a fight broke out over Zoe. Kiara refused to let him take her daughter. Zoe screamed out loud. The child's voice filled the house. I do not want to go. Those words were the last warning before everything turned violent. Decoy opened fire. Kiara and Zoe were killed. 2 others were critically wounded, including 5-year-old Bella, who was playing inside that home. He fled the scene, abandoning a 6-year-old with a gunshot wound at a stranger's house before disappearing into the dark. The red flags were there. The public threats were documented. The criminal history was on record. The system saw all of it and still let him walk free without warning the woman most at risk. As Kiara's family said it themselves, red flags are completely useless unless someone takes decisive action to stop them. This case is now fueling Jesse's Law legislation designed to keep children out of reach of known abusers, because sometimes the greatest danger lives inside the family. If this story moved you, share it. Someone in your circle may need to see it right now. Kiara was 26. Zoe was 6. They deserve protection the system failed to give. This channel exists so their story is never forgotten. Stay alert, trust what you see, and never stay silent when someone you love is in danger. He forced his way inside and pressed a gun to her skull, and this was not the first time she had begged for her life. Kiara Massenberg was 26 years old. Her daughter Zoe was 6. Both of them had every reason in the world to be afraid. Before Decoy Jones ever met Kiara, he had already been convicted of kidnapping and assaulting another woman. Behind closed doors, the relationship ran on fear, threats, beatings, arrests, and always a return. In July 2024, Kiara posted on social media that she had moved on. Decoy responded with a photo of a bullet-riddled car. The caption read, "Her, I found someone new. Me, I found both of you." Then he threatened to visit the ICU to finish her off. One day before that post, he had declared his love for her publicly. 2 messages, 24 hours apart. One was love, the other was a death threat.